You Are Here is sponsored by Uni. Start your story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you never miss an episode. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to You Are Here. I'm your favorite host, Crystal Luster, and I am very excited to have another amazing friend of mine, Dezimon Alicea, who is, man, a creative in his own right. Let me back up first, because there's a lot to say. But again, we are in a new location. I know you all are used to seeing the exhibit house, but we are being hosted by the amazing OBE Studios in Maryville, Indiana. If you are looking for a soundstage or anywhere to film, to record podcasts, to do editing, all of that kind of stuff, like this is the place to go. Black owned and operated, family owned and operated. It's amazing. So shout out to them for allowing us to use the space for this episode. Now back to Dezimon or Dez or Happy, whatever we want to call him. Man, we've been knowing each other for what, 8 years now?
Almost 10.
Almost
Yep.
10.
Decade.
Ooh, child. Getting old.
That is true.
He, believe it or not, back when I used to be like 100% about my music game, was my manager. And so that's kind of how we got to know each other, was through music, and that brought us together. But what has kept us together, kept the band together, is just a super solid friendship.
Yeah.
Creative in his own right, comedian, writer, singer, visionary, producer. Run down the list of things.
Okay,
here.
resume.
Business owner, consultant, creative director, therapist, psychologist, like all the things. So we be therapizing and whatnot. But yeah, just welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
I am very happy to be here.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you for having me. This is a very dope spot.
It is. It is very.
Got to pay the bills.
Yes.
OBE Studio.
OBE Studios. But also very dope to have you on You Are Here. So for those of you who may not have seen or heard the show before, we just talk about where we are in life. On the big map of life, that little red dot that says You Are Here, that's where we're trying to figure out, where are we, so we can figure out where we want to go.
Yeah.
So inquiring minds want to know, where is Dez?
It's funny. Dez is in OBE Studios. Physically, I am operating day to day for this amazing Black-owned studio. Getting a chance to interact and engage with creators. 15 years I've been a creator. Now, not meaning I've done it longer than anybody else. We've been doing it for a long time, and so being housed here really helps me get my vision off, get my creativity off. I remember telling myself I just want to create and counsel people, and by partnering my company with OBE, I've been able to do that. So that's physically where I am. Emotionally, that one action has brought so much happiness to my life and satisfaction. Mentally, I'm very aware, acutely. I feel very in tune. I feel like I'm in the right place mentally with my thoughts and managing expectations. For me, getting to a pleasurable place in life is common, but what is even more common is my self-destructive habits, which always takes me from the place that I prayed to get to quicker than I wanted to. But this time I feel it's going to be different because I'm different. So mentally, I'm not letting my past traumas affect me. Personally, still divorced. That's going great.
Sorry. It was just the way he said it.
I mean, it is. I'm really happy to be divorced. Married 9 years and 3 beautiful children. And you're married to somebody for more than 3 years. You kind of get it in your mind, okay, I might be with this person we may ride this thing out. Mm-hmm. But when you get there to 9, almost 10, and you're like, I don't know if I really want to be here anymore, because I don't like this person like that, or I don't like some things about myself that this person might be bringing out. Having those honest conversations, and so I would much rather be happy divorced than unhappy married. So I am very in a pleasurable place there. As a father, I'm great. They love me. I love my babies. Spiritually, man, um, I believe in me. Somebody asked me, what do I believe? Because I was a pastor. I haven't really been to church in a long time. Some would say agnostic. Would not say atheist, but definitely not conform to traditional religion anymore. Particularly, those of the Western civilizations. Looking at Christianity, right? With which largest population, America, largest population of people in America are Christians. No, I take that back. I think it was Muslim. I think Christianity was second. I don't want to misquote that because either a Muslim or a Buddhist or somebody, a 5%er is going to cancel me. So I don't want to misquote. But walking away from that Christian religion, that doctrine, people ask me like, "What do you believe now? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in the universe?" I believe in me, because it has been me for 35 years. I've felt me. I've cried with me. I've seen my struggles. I've seen my wins. I've yielded and willed some things to happen. I do believe there is definitely a universal power greater than my own that is assisting, you know. But even the Bible says, man, that faith without works is dead. So I really believe in me because I take the first step, I take the first initiative. Life will knock you down, but theirs is always going to get up. Then once I get up, the universe starts moving in my favor. So I'm good. I'm grounded. I am happy. I am whole. I am healed. That is where I am.
Well, this is what happens when you bring a therapist on, because he just gave us a complete meal of an answer. And I was looking for an appetizer
Oh,
to
you should have
start.
said that.
But it's okay. I appreciate
I'm a
all of
well
those
of
things.
words. I'm
Yes.
full of words.
So now we have to backtrack and unpack
Let's
because that
go.
was a lot. So physically, yes, we are here in the studios. You have this new position. I think what I love about what you said, as far as where you are physically, being here and partnering a happy company, which is your company, with OBE Studios. It's just the ability to kind of bring your two passions together, creativity and counsel, because you are counseling in a sense of, from a creative perspective, giving people insight and helping connect the dots and giving them a space to, unfold and develop their creativity, which is amazing. Especially for creators like us, in the Chicagoland area, there's so many different creative people. Like, Chicago has such a great creative community, but a lot of times people feel like they have to go elsewhere to create. They have to move to LA or New York or, Houston or Atlanta or whatever. But it's great to have a space here and to cultivate that art, and so that's awesome. And then we're not going to bypass what you said about being happy and divorced. And just from a sense of, you said you'd rather be happy and divorced than married and miserable.
I said married and unhappy.
Married and unhappy, but I like married and miserable.
Don't put miserable in my mouth. My baby mama ain't finna knock my tires out.
Well, I'm a big fan of alliteration.
Okay.
So I know that happy and divorced don't go together, but married and miserable do. Not all the time, obviously. I'm just saying for the alliteration. Anyway,
I did not say miserable to me. She said that. That's her alliteration.
Listen, okay.
I don't want no people coming at me.
I
don't want my black sisters coming and say, "What you trying to say? We all miserable?" Because that's what's gonna happen.
And I didn't say all.
I'm gonna be a meme.
I didn't say you might be.
That's why I'm be looking like this.
I'm gonna make you a meme.
That's how he be looking. Be miserable, huh?
I am going to make you a meme just for that. That's gonna be your meme.
Go ahead.
No, but I think that's a space to like really sit in. It was funny. I had a conversation yesterday with a woman I had not talked to in a long time. And I was hitting her up about a business opportunity. I'm like, hey, this is what I have going on. I need for you to do XYZ. Want to use your services. And I was explaining how my situation has changed. I'm like, hey, I'm recently divorced and da 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 da. And she was like, oh yeah, me too. So I understand. And I was like, there was this silence for like a few seconds, and I have experienced that a little bit more and more. And she was like, I was like, I mean, for me, it's a good thing. A lot of people are kind of like weird about it. They say they don't know whether to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Congratulations." And she was like, "Oh, it's definitely a congratulations for me." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, congratulations." And people are so weirded out by it, and I get it, right? I used to be that person that was like, "Stay married at all costs," work it out. There's always a way to figure it out. But like, I know from experience firsthand now
Yeah.
that sometimes you could do literally everything that you can try to make it work, and it just doesn't. And it's your duty to yourself as a human being, as an
Yeah.
individual, to keep yourself alive and thriving and growing instead of dying in one place because it's the thing that you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I feel like that's something that's liberating. It could be scary and uncomfortable for a lot of people, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's something to acknowledge that when you've made a decision and you have peace about it and you feel happy about it, like that's a good thing.
For me, yeah, you're right. That journey to getting to that place that you realize, okay, I would be happier away from this is, you know, COVID is kind of what made us realize. And I think a lot of people could say that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Up until that point, we were married 9 years. You know, 3 kids. This was the first time in COVID that we had to all be in the house together at the same time on a consistent basis. None of us were ready for that. I think my children, my then wife, and myself all handled it differently. My way of handling it was going out, meaning I would get in the car and I just go for a ride. I'll go
Mhm.
to the store, I'll go somewhere. But during COVID, I could not go anywhere. That started me to start going to therapy because I found myself kind of going crazy, getting cabin fever. And then through the course of therapy, nothing that my therapist said to me opened my eyes about my marriage. It was things that I was just saying out loud that I
Mhm.
had already said to myself years before.
Mhm.
Now, saying it in front of somebody made me say, there's something in that. And feelings about my marriage. We got married young. We were 21, 22, heavily involved in church. And so you've got that pressure, that stigma of what you got to be. I wanted something. And the idea is better to marry than to burn, that scripture that is instilled in you. That wasn't the only reason, but one of the reasons. I convinced myself that I love this person enough who I barely knew,
Mhm.
enough to say, I'm ready to have a family with you. Not only did I not know her enough, I did not know myself at all. So you have 2 kids that, because of family expectations, religious standards to uphold, I was already a preacher at that time. You know, we got married, dude, and for 9 years we faked the funk. I really think I know we faked the funk for the kids and for the public perception. We were a known couple. People knew about us and our movings. They were interested in us. And I think that both of us liked the idea of being together,
Mhm.
but inwardly we were both very dissatisfied with one another. Needs that she had, I was not able to fulfill. Needs that I had, she was not able to fulfill.
Mhm.
And hear my wording. I did not say we chose not to fulfill. We did not know how. I'm 35 now. She's 35 now. We were 21, 22 then. We are just now, I think, at a place as individuals understanding what our needs and wants are.
Mhm.
But we had to go through that time of separation. That is in no way saying we're coming back together. That is a way of saying that what you looking at?
I
Oh,
what?
what you like that?
No, I'm laughing because you made a whole big stink about how you felt in the marriage. Now you're like, we're in no way, shape, or form.
Because we tried it. We tried to, we've been divorced 4 years, and we've tried to date at least 3 times.
I know.
And you're my sounding board. And each of those times, it didn't work,
Yeah.
and it made both of us realize, like, hey. And again, I think we were reverting back to what we knew, sake of the kids, and I have no problem getting somebody. She has no problem getting somebody, but you know, familiarity sometimes is stronger than your desire for something new. Found comfort in what was familiar. Thought we were whole, healed enough to do it, and we were not. I would take that back. We were healed enough to recognize that we're healed, but not for one another.
Mm.
We are healed, but we are just better apart. We're better as friends, and I think that is okay. So back, rewind back in 2019 when I approached her. I've been going to therapy, and it had me really questioning some things inwardly about my life. And I told her for the first time what I had been thinking for years, what I had just uh, divulged to my therapist. So I'm not in love with you. I've never loved you the way that I think a husband needs to love his wife. Now, that doesn't mean I mistreated her. It just means that my emotional, my desire to be fully available in the ways that she needed me to be available were not there. It's because I was never gunning to be here in the first place. It was, for me, marrying at that young age was a trauma response. Some things that happened to me younger that developed some habits and patterns in my mind, some mommy issues there, some daddy issues there, but finding a sense of stability when I met her at an age where my life had been very tumultuous. She was stable. She had her own place. She had her own car. She was the opposite to what I had been presented. So I said, I want this. And it was me really reaching for something that would regulate my nervous system in a sense. And it wasn't love. It was, for me, it was realization that this is stability. I can rock with being stable and learn to love. And I think that's what I told myself, but that did not happen. I expressed that to her, and we cried. It was hard. It was, and again, hell, it's COVID. We had no choice but to be around each other. So we're going through a separation while we are literally. I'm working from home. She's working from home. Like, how does that work? We did it. Separated. I eventually moved out, got a place. Some time passed, and we divorced. I cannot say what her reason was for getting with me in the beginning. I can only speak for my actions. I do know that we've talked since then, and I understand that a part of her reasoning was the same as mine. She looked at something or someone that she knew would be a great father to oncoming children of the child that she had. Um, so it's no secret. My daughter, um, who was 13 or 14 now, uh, by blood she's not mine, but my girl been in my life. I've been in her life since she was 1. So that's my daughter. And my ex-wife, I had a child, or had her. She was pregnant with her, about to have the baby when we decided we were dating, and we decided to. I'm just kind of recalling the story. It's kind of crazy. Um, we were dating, broke up, got back together. Well, obviously she was not with me, so she was pregnant. And I said, "Hey, I stick around. It's okay." She said, "Nigga, no. I got a whole baby in me. You good. We can be friends." And we did. Um, and then I don't know, man. Uh, that little girl. I think about that little girl and what she was to me. Uh, and maybe as I'm sitting here thinking about it, it could have been also the love for that little girl, for my baby that I saw because I was just with her so much. And I'm hanging out with my ex-wife, then my friend. She got this little 3, 4 month old baby. And just those eyes, she was just so pleasant. She's just so pleasant. And that could have been something. I think I fell in love with her first, to be honest.
So this reminds me of that the movie Twilight when Jacob imprinted on Renesmee.
How did you get that out of this very?
Because you said I think it was my love for the baby that made me like what a you you had no, I'm just kidding guys.
Edit that part out.
I had to jump back into the conversation.
But
That's
yeah,
what
you had to. Yeah, but I think it was my love for her that made me say, I could do this. You
yeah.
know that okay, this could work. And then you realize over the time that that's not true. And so, as I was saying, I ramble. My ex-wife and I have had the conversation. Got a lot of editing. Since
I'm
then,
not editing this,
okay,
so
good.
it's
We've had the conversation since then, so I know that I was fulfilling a need that she had. She was looking for stability too. So you got two wounded and hurt young people
mhm.
that find some level of safety with one another and comfort. We built a marriage. Now, we were wise enough to say, okay, this isn't working. Let's stop. My heart is still for the millions of married couples that are out there. Not every one of them has a story similar to ours, but there are some that their story is very similar. And they're saying, yes, I thought this Negro was the one, or I thought she was the one based on how she made me feel. Be careful with your feelings because your feelings are tied to your emotions. Emotions sometimes can be manipulated by what has happened to you, your trauma, your nervous system can trick you into feeling a way just to make you feel safe. Now, we are claiming we are in love and we are really just safe.
Mm. There's a lot to be said about safety and making safe choices. I feel like this is a very different type of episode because you are not sticking to the rules at all.
Oh, what are the? I did not know there were
You
rules.
have been talking about where you were and not where you are.
Oh, well, you asked. Okay,
It's fine. It's fine.
interview me.
It's fine. But that being said, it makes me reflect about decisions that I made. I felt like I made a safe choice, and not necessarily the choice that I wanted to make. Like when I reflect back on it, even in that moment, I when people were asking like, "Oh, well, how do you know that this is the right choice?" And I'm like, "It's a good decision. It's a good." And I kept telling myself, "I'm making a good decision. It's a
Logical.
logical decision. It makes sense. Like you know, the things that we want are aligned, and the circles that we run in are aligned. All these things. It's a good decision. It's a good choice. But I never felt like in my heart like, oh, this is really what I want. I felt like this was what I needed. And
That's good.
One
That's
day
good.
you wake up and you're like,
Talk to us.
this doesn't work for me anymore
Uh-oh.
because it's not really what I want, and what I want matters. And I feel
Yeah.
like the one thing that we don't talk about enough, especially from a church perspective, is that you're taught to desire what you need instead of what you want because there is some type of holy factor in denying yourself what you want.
No. That's
I
good.
realized that what I want does matter.
That may I just
Quickly.
okay, go ahead. You finish then because mine ain't gonna be quick. You said something though.
You think about the scripture, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Meaning, I want for nothing. Like, wants are still valuable, wants are still something that's important. And I feel like all too often we take this very, holy approach to, oh, as long as I have the basics, as long as, these things are being met, I'm provided for, and we go to church and we pray, and we have a family, then we're good. I don't need anything else, because to want something more than the basics, I'm being greedy, or I'm being, too ambitious, or, I'm being selfish. And the reality is my wants and desires are a part of who I am as a person, and a part of who I'm intended to be in this earth. And so if I'm unhappy as a person because I'm lacking the things that I desires that God gave me at the end of the day, then I can't fulfill my purpose in the earth. I can't show up authentically.
I think that we go back to what religion and Christianity particularly have taught us. Again, Western religion has taught us self-sacrifice is the greatest form to show agape or love to your God. Jesus gave his life.
Mhm.
Abraham was about to kill his son. So you look at your life as a married person, and you are told going into it.
Mhm.
I used to read the book and tell the people, you ought to be willing to give more and care more for the desires of your spouse than yourself. But the Bible or the Christian religion takes it even deeper than that. It says that really women should be willing to give up all of yourself for this man. That is a very public sacrifice. And men, assumedly, they're giving just as much, but theirs can be done in private, which oftentimes means that they are not sacrificing in private. So for me, the thinking that keeps marriages toxic is that I have to put this other person's happiness or needs before my own. If you have a car and you on empty, you gonna give your friend $10 for gas? No, Negro, I can't help you if my car is on empty. I think that we need to reevaluate what happiness looks like. And it's not selfish to say, yo, fam, I am missing something in this area. And you are not fulfilling that need, but it's not your responsibility. If we take that pressure or expectation off of people, we will not get in the rat race of thinking that we now have to be something or we now have to give up what we like and sacrifice. No, that's not what a relationship is really about. You got to define what moves you, what makes that person happy. And if you can't meet that need, bow out. If that's temporarily or if that's for permanent. But even if you realize like what doesn't make you happy, say something about it. We have to relearn that it is, again, Eastern religions would teach this, right? Buddhism, Hinduism would teach you that look within self and see what the soul really desires. Once you have begun to do that, then you can bring in people and say, how can I assist you? I cannot pour water from an empty cup. We have to really, I think for me, I got to relearn how to love myself. I got to relearn that it is okay to say, no, no, I'm going to put myself first in the instance of this is what makes me happy.
Now, so where we are, what?
I thought I broke something. I got nervous. I hit it and you look.
You did hit it, but I'm thinking more about sound. Anyway, so like bringing it back, stop it. Bringing it back to the concept of the show. You are here, right? Now we have this knowledge because a part of locating where you are is understanding where you've been. So we're still within theme here. But like bringing it to where we are now, I do want to say first and foremost, like Des said, like I am still very much an advocate for marriage. I think marriage is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I aspire to be married again, to have a family. Like, in no way, shape, or form am I saying like marriage is trash and don't do it. I don't disagree with putting the needs of myself in the forefront. I think my upbringing and my understanding of marriage, or sacrifice of Christianity, and all those different things, um, sometimes it's a challenge, right? Because you're so used to hearing and understanding a certain way. And so like the person that I am is very much prefer your brother, is very much yield to the other person. That is very much a biblical stance, is to be humble, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with humility. I think where we run into an issue, especially from a church perspective when it comes to marriage, all too often, is that in doing that and in being so solely focused on serving another person, it's 100% possible to serve another person and not completely abandon self. And I think we harp on this idea of die to self, but we let self die. Those are two completely different concepts. Dying to self, again, is a sense of humility, but humility does not mean completely abandon and forget about self needs. We need, and it's okay for us to have needs. We want, it's okay for us to have want. And I feel like that's important, not just from a relationship standpoint, but that's important from a life standpoint. You are here sitting in something that we used to talk about. We used to dream about having access to a space to create. And now we're sitting in that one, in that desire. And that never would have happened if we had not made decisions and moves to get to this point. From a father's perspective, I don't have any children yet, but I can imagine that there was a point in time where, you know, you aspired to have family and now you have family and you are trying to be the type of father that you did not experience in a sense of, that natural bond. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, but like I know how you talk about your children and how passionate of a father you are. And it's like this is where you are now, looking back to what was and to where you are now. You make those certain moves and you're intentional about it, but that's birthed out of your own personal desire. It's not just about your children, but your desire to be a present father.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is my desire to be a present father, but then I think also there are some things that are innate in me.
Mm-hmm.
I am just a loving person.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I've had to curtail about myself is that people pleasing. We've talked about that, but I have historically been bent over backwards and been loyal to people who were abusive to me, whether physically, verbally, or emotionally. Um, Public displays of, as I wanted to use a term, I'm not going to use it, shaming me in public, right? But I think that my traumatic experiences kind of shaped me in the sense to believe the more I do for this person, whoever they may be, the more they are likely to stay, or the more they will love me, the more they will see me. And so for me, it wasn't so much I'm a good, not good. I'm this kind of father because I want to be that way for my kids. It's really I'm a loving person, and being a loving person sometimes makes you hide it when it's been taken advantage of.
Makes
And
sense.
so dealing with individuals, I have to hide that love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people are going to say, how can you be authentic if you're hiding something? It's, you do not cast your pearls before swine. You
I
know,
don't know that I would say that it's hiding, more so concealing.
I like that. Concealing. We will use that.
I think we've talked about that
Yeah,
before
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a, you're concealing
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
just so that it's safe when you
Hmm.
reveal.
That great analogy.
Yeah.
With my children, they love me without boundaries. They
Mm-hmm.
love me with no qualifications. I don't have to do anything. My children just love me. Like they would just come and lay on me and just touch my face and just look at my eyes. What do you want? Nothing. Like I don't have to do anything. I feel safe in that love. And so they get the best parts of me
Mm-hmm.
as it relates to love. That is just because it's in me. But, you know, when you have been brought up a certain way and you've experienced certain things, it's almost like you are afraid to be what you really are
Mm-hmm.
at the risk of it being taken advantage of, you know?
Felt, definitely felt. Okay, so we have dove deep into what was. We have talked about where you are. You sound very grounded, grounded and well rounded. No, and just in a good place, in a solid place. Being emotionally aware, being um, aware of what you want to accomplish from a professional
Yeah,
standpoint, from a relational standpoint, all those different
yeah.
things. So if this is where you are, then where are you headed?
Taking over the world. I have one mission to make the world a happier place, period. I'm going to do that with Happy. My company is Happy, but we are introducing, me partnering with OBE Studios. We're going to start putting out some happy content. And I was a podcaster some years ago. I was telling a story. I think 2012, before podcasting really hit. I was on it because I had the radio background and I observant of the game, and I saw how podcasts were coming in, and I really was that first wave here locally. I started like 6 podcasts, and I was just trying to test it. Over the years, I've consulted, helped people make them. I've done several. 2019 to 20 whatever we are now, it's 4 or 5 years. I haven't been visible. I haven't said anything, and there's a lot that has happened in my life that has altered my perception of life, even some fundamental beliefs I had a few years ago. And I am ready to share that. I am ready to share those experiences and those stories, but I'm ready to engage with people once again. So um, this partnership with OBE, some of that happy content is going to be a podcast by myself. A few other things that we're talking about with some happy collaborators. Yeah, yeah. But for me, man, I'm gonna make people happy through the content we create here, through what I do as a counselor, seeing Black and brown families right here on this couch, or whether it's the work I do in the community, making happier families by advocating for their children. They are mistreated at school for behaviors, or advocating for a family to a judge or a court. You know, I had a judge mute my mic in court one time because I was the brazen person saying, "I think you're being unfair and mistreating his family," and they had to cut my microphone off.
Not they cut
They
they
silence
silenced you.
you when they know you're right.
When they turned your mic back on, did you say reclaiming my time?
No, I tried to type
Reclaiming
it.
my time.
I said, "Oh,
I don't know why that just made me think about the Chinese, the
yeah."
movies. Yeah.
So I want to make people happy. I want to make the world happy. But the key thing, I'm also happy. That is a character, a brand, a person in itself. But my happiness ain't your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you happy does not make me happy. Everybody deserves the right to feel whatever way it's going to make them happy. As long as you're not hurting, bring harm to somebody else or yourself, be happy. So that's my religion.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness, you can be short, lesbian, trans, black, white, Chinese, big, small, doesn't matter. Happiness fits all sizes.
Happiness fits all sizes. One size fits all.
That's happy. That's the happy guarantee. This was nice.
It was nice.
We should do this again.
We're gonna have to, because there was so much to unpack, but just not enough time.
It should be called Shits and Giggles.
I'm gonna have to use so many bleeps for you.
Oh well, I want to cuss, Crystal.
I know, but I have a clean brand, Des.
Well, your guests can be unclean.
This is true. Come as you are.
Come as you are.
Come as you are. Well, I want to thank you for coming here. Well, you were here. I want to thank you for allowing me to come here. But thank you for being a guest on the show.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have you back to learn more about what a happy company and OBE are up to. Thank you so much for being a guest. I'm so happy that we got a chance to talk and learn more.
Happy. I see what you did there.
Yeah. We had a chance to learn about.
Okay,
shut up. Y'all, I will talk to you soon. You can connect with Des. Check out the links below. I see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe and connect so that we can keep doing life together. Have a good one.